All right, cool cats, we're live. Welcome to the BK Legend podcast. I'm Ben Kelly, born in Australia, based in the US for over 20 years. I've worn the jersey for the USA Rugby League Tomahawks, repped the nation in touch footy and thrown down at the CrossFit Games twice. After 5 decades of chasing excellence, this show is about the legends who've truly walked the walk across sport, business and life. No BS, no filters, just the real chinwags from those who've earned the title. And my first guest today is one of those legends, Greg Brainerd, who conquered Mount Kilimanjaro. Let's dive in.
Chinwigs.
Chinwag.
Wags.
There's a gas bag and a chinwag, right? This is chinwag. It's a serious combo. We've had a lot of gas bags as well over the time in training, but this is going to be a chinwag. Okay. So, mate, for those tuning in, tell us a bit about yourself, where you're at right now, age-wise, headspace, and what life looks for you today.
Well, I'm 64, and headspace, I really think that I'm in the best years of my life, and I just really want to make the most of it. And where I am, I retired from a career in IT management a couple of years ago, and I didn't want to go from 60 miles an hour to 0, so I doubled down. I got my U.S. Coast Guard captain's license, master license, towing endorsement, but I really enjoy being on the water, helping people, and so it's a vocation for me. And when I'm out there and the dolphins are jumping, it's like, oh gosh, pinch me, life's good. So that's what I'm doing now as a more of a vocation and how I spend most of my days.
Mate, awesome. I thought you were 65. You haven't hit 65 yet? When are you 65?
September.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. So, mate, let's talk about Kilimanjaro. So how did Kilimanjaro enter your headspace in the first instance?
Well, I knew that as part of my pivot, if you will, from full-time work, into retirement, I wanted to knock off a bucket list. And so I had 3 initial primary goals. The first was to do a transatlantic sail with my daughter, which we did December before last. And we were 2 on a crew of 9 on a 51-foot Swan, and we came in 3rd place in our racing division. And so that was number 1. Number 2 was to face one of my fears. I have a little bit of fear of heights, and so I did a sky jump or skydive up on Cape Cod, and that was terrifying for moments, but it was just something I wanted to knock off. And then the third was doing this Mount Kilimanjaro climb, which I did this past December with my son. It was something that a college classmate had mentioned he had done back in his 40s, and something I knew one day I might want to go and accomplish myself.
You're scared of heights and you climb Kilimanjaro?
Well, that's different. I have a fear of heights if I'm standing at a balcony's edge or something like that. Right. But up on a mountain, unless I'm at a cliff's edge, I'm okay.
Yeah. So, mate, we met around, I think, that time that you'd thought about Kilimanjaro, or was that something that had been, when we're at, May 2025, when did that come into your head that you wanted to climb Kilimanjaro? Well,
it was one of my bucket list goals for several years, but I knew I needed to start getting serious about it and training, and that's when I met you, and that's when we got at it. So, and I will say as much, Ben, I know I've said this before, but I truly feel that without that training and inspiration that you gave me, I think you really got me to the top.
Thanks, mate. That means a lot. Let's talk training. So what did the training look like for you when you first started to me? Well, let me just actually backtrack on that. When you did first come to me, you were very, very raw. You had you had been doing some boxing at the time, or some kickboxing, or some group classes. I think it was 30 minutes away. You were traveling.
Yeah, good point.
Call me if I'm incorrect.
Yes.
And you had been doing some group training when we first met. When you first come to me, you said, I want to climb Kilimanjaro. So I went, okay, cool. When is that? It was about 10 months later after that, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so what did we do in regard to setting up the training?
Sure. Well, my training had been ad hoc a little bit, and I came to you knowing that I had to get out of my dad bod from working that desk job sort of career, and I had to get fit. And so I came to you thinking about fitness, and then you brought it up another level, and we really focused on diet. And I was clueless when it came to nutrition and diet and so forth. And so you got me more conscious of that and how to eat better, for one, and that made a huge difference. And then you brought me up to a higher level still, and that mental fortitude. And we would go deep on our training many days, but there's a few days we went dark and deep into that headspace that you just can't quit, and you've got to get to the top of the mountain if that's the case. So you really brought my level of training, Ben, up significantly to nutrition and then to that mental fortitude as well.
Right. We'll talk about that for sure. So you did train with me for, 3 days a week, I think initially. I do recall there was a lot of, every month there was always seemed to be a bit of a check-in of, are we on the right track and our goals? And I do recall a lot of requests for, let's do bench. And I remember saying, you're not going to be walking up the mountain on your hands. So let's do squats. So
yep, absolutely.
we definitely brought up the, I do remember when you were lunging that you were very unstable on single leg. But the challenges for me was getting you strong. But first of all, being committed to that task is number one, and you were very much that way. How did you find the intensity of the training?
It's what I wanted, and that's what you provided me with. I could have gone to another gym, and I think it might have been more relaxed and more self-paced, and you drove me, and that's what I needed, and it accelerated my training. And I was naive. I thought, okay, well, let's get the pecs strong or the arms strong. You're absolutely right. Let's start with the legs. And there were numerous times on the mountain where I had to take a big step to that next big rock or boulder, and I had to push hard on one leg. I wouldn't have had the strength had you not prepped me to get me there.
What do you think about the dense strength training, the every minute on the minute training?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that's when we would go dark and deep sometimes, and you just had to reach inside and just go to a different place, if you will, and not quit. And I think to some extent, whether you're doing a mountain or some other rigorous goal, you got to be able to put yourself in that mental position as well as the physical position.
How did you find the training tied in with Kilimanjaro? Were you well prepared on the mountain? I mean,
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about the actual experience of climbing the mountain and how long you were up there for.
Well, it was 8 days total. It was 6 days climbing up, 2 days down. And you may say, gee, why is such a difference? Because you have to adjust to the altitude. So you would climb high, sleep low, climb higher, sleep low, to keep adjusting to the altitude, which is what gets most people. It's the altitude more than anything else. But where you helped me a lot, Ben, is be prepared for setbacks. Things can happen, and they do. Like I cut my finger, and I was concerned about it getting infected, but I couldn't let that override everything else I had to do at the moment. So control what you can control, and I did the best I could with that, and fortunately it didn't turn into anything more than just a cut. But you can eat something that doesn't sit with you well, and all of a sudden now you're trying to climb this mountain, and yet you're feeling pretty sick. So again, or the weather changes and it gets bitter cold or high, windy, and you started basically in the forest and you finish at an Arctic level. So it's you go through all those climate changes, and you can't always control the elements around you. So you have to be in that mental preparation again.
I did throw some sessions at you that were what I call chaos, where you come in for a session. A lot of times it was structured training, strength work. You're always very curious about the session. What are we doing today? How are we doing it? So it was, that really stuck with me over the course of your training. First of all, is you disciplined to the task, and I'm very proud of your mission, your training and dedication from when you first met with me to where you going for the walk 3 days a week. We also did extra training, layered it in over time. But to get a guy from 64, 63 at the time to, walking Kilimanjaro was, I believed, more mental than physical. So the strength component was great, layering that in, because I mean your training age chronologically, you're in your your great senior years, master years, your legend years, but your training age is veritably, it was a blank slate. So the growth was very, very linear in regard to your improved strength, but you got to do the work, and you turned up for the work. So that was what was important, and what I really it resonated with me during your training time was that you do the work. I was just guiding the path and layering it in, but it was really cool to have a guy like yourself with your dedication to, walking an intense trip up a mountain with your son to get you there. But let's just go to the sessions, the cardio sessions. You have the chaos sessions. You would come in, and I remember we had an echo bike, and we jump on the bike, and you said, "What are we doing today?" And I said, "We're going for 30 minutes," and I just didn't tell you what you were doing. And that was hard for you. You were really, really struggling. And I know there's a couple of sessions there where we'd ride for 2 minutes on the echo bike, and then we'd go for a 400-meter run, and you didn't really love running. I don't think you still do now, but getting better at it. And then we went back on the bike, and I just didn't tell you what was next. How did you find that?
Well, I'm a very visual person, so I try to really zone in, fix on what's the task at hand. And but where that really helped me, Ben, is you kind of throwing, blindness at me, is on Kilimanjaro, you start your summit at midnight, so that 7 hours later you get up there at sunrise, because then you have to quickly trek back down half the mountain, get the altitude aspects and so forth. But my point is, you would climb for an hour, and you would think, I'm going to come around this corner and I'm going to see the top of the mountain finally. Right. And guess what? It wasn't there. And you just march on for another hour, thinking as soon as we go around the next bend, I'll see the top of the mountain. And again, you wouldn't. So it's kind of like that. You prepared me for not always knowing what's right around the corner, and then just having
right.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, but how was the wake up at 12, and then how long did that take to get to the top?
7 hours to get to the summit, and then you quickly start the descend at that point. So it's a good long day. It's about 14 hours on that day of climbing and descending.
Awesome. Let's talk about your training. So in regard to some of the gains, I want to. I'm a little bit all over the place here, but that's your dude. You had like. This sounds American, doesn't it, dude?
Mate.
Mate. You had no pull-ups. So like, and I still haven't shared this, and I will be in a social. Is that you went from 0 pull-ups to I remember you accomplished 10 chin-ups just before you left. That's underhand grip, and then after you came back, we've now accomplished 10 chin-ups or 10 pull-ups. So it's just it's phenomenal to do that in under a year, number one. But you also have, an over body weight back squat. You're lifting more than your body weight back squat. You've got a 1 1/4 deadlift on the way to 1.5 times body weight deadlift, so 225. You bench press 195 yesterday, which is fucking amazing. Like in regard to you being 170, and I know before you left, you wanted 165. And I remember there was times where I've learnt with you, Greg, that it's very challenging to kind of like put a limit on you. And I think that you've always been one to like challenge those limits. I think that the limitations, and so I've learned, you've helped me learn this, is not to put limits on what you can achieve by putting barriers on that. With the bench press, I said you wouldn't get body weight before you went on the bench press and attaining your body weight when it was 165 at the time, 170. And you did hit that before we left. How did that feel for you?
Well, you make it easy for me. You really do, because like I said, if I went into a gym on my own, I'd be aimless. And what I really admire about you is that Ben is the consummate chef in the kitchen that has a bunch of ingredients, and he's just kind of salt and pepper and this, that, and this ingredient and so forth. And somehow or another, I walk into the gym and you seem to manage exactly what I'll need, and the group as well, so that we come out with a good, solid workout So how you just create what we need when we need it, how much of it we need to push us to the limit and so forth. So I just do what you say now. I used to question you before. Now I just
you did, and you were a challenge. You definitely were a challenge. You are a challenge, but I like that. In regard to it's not like, okay, I'll just do it. You're curious and you want to learn, and I love to coach and I love to teach. So to have someone who is curious about the why behind what we're doing is great, and I respect that, and I enjoy that. Your willingness to learn and grow. There was always some times there throughout the training that I was very, very aware of, and this is how I am as a coach, is that I'm aware of your energy as well. So if you have bad sleep, if you haven't been eating well, if you are sore, it's just like there's a fine line in regard to how hard to push and when to back off in regard to like tweaks, etc., to have you looking, feeling, and performing great. Waking up happy, horny, and hungry and ready to play is important, and I think that's important as a coach to realise that. So there was definitely a lot of holding the reins with you, because it was like you wanted to be off to the races a lot.
Off the rails, yeah. Well, it's worked well. You've been a fantastic coach for me, and I appreciate it on lots of levels.
Thanks, mate. Let's talk about nutrition, because it's such an important part of your journey, and to be completely open about this, you had fuck all idea about nutrition when
Sure.
it came to me.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've had a long career, professional wise, head down, ass up, I like to say in Australia, where you're like in the weeds, 15-hour days, and you're now coming up to smell the roses a bit. Mate, talk to me about the challenges with nutrition and how the training helped you, and how I hopefully helped you as well.
Yeah, just well, on the mountain you have to look at your body like a machine, and you have to put gas in it, you have to put oil in it, you have to maintain it, and I never hydrated myself enough until I met you and realized that how hydrated you really need to be. And then the MAPS, the master amino acid pattern.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. But those really help as far as being able to be rigorous during your training and keep that high energy level and recover well. So those have been great during training days. But everything, Ben, to rest, but on the diet side, I was totally ignorant, and I still have a lot to learn as far as carbohydrates and protein and eat this, not that, and so forth. But you've gotten me a lot further along in that regard. The main thing I've done is I've cut out the obvious, the snacks and so forth, and I try to eat more consciously in whole foods and, greater awareness.
Yeah. Mate, let's just touch on the MAP, because I'm a huge fan of MAP, before exercise, as well as mental acuity, a side of training days, just taking some MAP in the morning while fasting. Mate, what's your experience been with MAP? Do you find you get better benefit with it aerobically or with strength training?
I wouldn't say one or the other. I'd say both, really. But I definitely notice a difference with training. I honestly, haven't used a lot outside of training, day to day, if you will. But I know for sure with the training. And on the mountain, I took them as well, obviously. But if you've got endurance that you need, coming up, for sure.
Yeah.
They're a difference maker.
Do you train fasted in the morning now? Are you training fasted? Like
Yes.
No food in your belly?
Yes.
So what's your win the morning, win the day routine in the mornings?
Wake up, have water, 5 MAPs, and then maybe half hour, 45 minutes before training, and then maybe 3 more MAPs, just before training.
There you go.
So it's really water and that, but fasting, and then go home and have a good breakfast.
Yeah. And you've learnt to fast and not eat too much before coming in for sessions, knowing we were going to be doing some breathing work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Why is that?
You won't feel too well if you
have bacon, eggs in the brekkie,
yes,
bacon, eggs in the morning, and jump on the fucking Echo bike. Good luck to you.
That happened one morning.
Can't get out of third gear. Going, why do I feel so fucking bad?
that did happen. For sure.
Can't get blood to the extremities and fucking go to puke. Oh, remember
boy.
that? 30-30s on the bike. Remember that 20-minute session we did? 30 seconds high effort, 30 seconds easy, and building in the 4 or 5 minute blocks. That was a tough ass session. That was the one before the one we did with the chaos.
That was a dark, deep one. Yeah.
Let me say this too, and it's really been, you know, and I'm saying this in all honesty that, you know, it's just I am super proud of your effort and your dedication, but it's really cool seeing your conditioning. Now when we train with some other guys in the group format with some of the dads that we have on the island and whatnot, on Daniel Island, God's country, where I'm living now with you, your engine's really good. Like you really have good capacity to hang. And it's really, it's cool to see, you know, your ability to go and drive and keep going and not have you know, you're very hard on yourself. I've noticed that, and hopefully I'm looking to help you with that. Just be a little more confident in regard to the sessions and being okay after the fact. And sometimes I feel like you're disappointing me. And I've said to you like last week when we did this workout together, side by side, I'm like, dude, you were great. You were hanging, and it's like you're pushing me. But it's not about, you know, the number of reps you get, or like it's about how you perform. It's about the effort you put out on a given day. So you may not be feeling 100%, but as long as you give your all, it's a win.
Well, if I'm 64 and working in a group with, say, someone who's 44, they've got that. I mean, but they've got the youth, if you will. But, you know, what I might have is some stubbornness and some...
Oh, plenty of that.
Yeah, you know, the head part where, you know, mind over matter, and we're going to persevere, and we're going to, you know, complete this task. And so that might be where I can leverage that to some of my advantage, where I can't leverage, you know, perhaps, you know, the total youth side.
Right.
So.
Awesome.
Well, and then when you keep busting me about being the old man, I guess that drives me too.
The old man river. I call everyone old man river. I'm 55,
right.
mate. I'm in that bucket now. You know, it's like, hence why I want to start this podcast and call it the Legends Podcast. Is that, you know, I had some changes when I turned 50. It's like, it's not all about performance now, and it's more about, well, it is. It's about longevity performance instead of athletic performance. I still want to perform athletically, but there's a shift that I've had in life when turning that 50-51, and a little bit more aches and pains, and you know, a little bit more challenges for sure. So I just really want to bring to life like the latter master years of our life, and about. Like, but we shouldn't just be checking out. We should be like, there's still like, you know, a good half our life to go. Let's thrive through these latter years. And how do we do that? So you were the first cab off the rank, mate. I wanted to speak to about your journey, and I'm stoked you can come here for the first session.
Well, thanks. I love what you do, and you give a really great dimension to my life in a lot of ways. You know, there is that fitness element, but there's that mental fortitude. There's certainly the diet, nutrition, and it's been a huge effect a positive effect on my life.
Yeah,
awesome.
So
thank you for that.
You're welcome, mate. I do want to share one last thing, mate, before we go. When you walked on the mountain, or before you went on the mountain, you gave me an envelope, and you said, "Don't open this envelope." Actually, if I could just read that to you. The listeners out there, it's very special. He said he had an envelope. It said, "Ben, open Saturday, December 28th, 2024 at 4:01 p.m. EST," and it's worded. Just bear with me here. So Gregory Brainerd had his name on the top. Friday, December 13th. That's when you wrote it. In anticipation of Sunday, December 29th. Yada, yada, yada. Well, Ben, this is it. It's midnight on the 6th night. After a day of climbing, a bit of rest, dinner, lots of water, and some sleep, we now have our headlamps on, several base layers of clothing, and we are now about to make our final 7 to 8 hour push to the summit. All of your training, digging deep, strong mind, strong body, have put me in the best possible position to achieve this bucket list goal, and with Grant, nonetheless, your son. Mm-hmm. You are clearly here with me every step of the way, and we're going to get to the top together. Love you, mate, and can't wait to work with you on the backside towards more goals together. Greg, mate, I was in tears when I read that, and I get chills after reading it, because it's very special, and I just I think that the thought that you have and the reflection is just super important, I think, in life, and you're not only I'm not only very proud of you, you're a great human being and a good mate.
Well, the feeling's mutual. I can't think of anyone I'd rather be in the trenches with. My son, indeed, but Ben, you got me to the top. You really did. So thank you.
Greg Brainerd, you're a legend.
I have a great coach.
Thanks, mate. Listeners, if you dug this, subscribe, share it with someone chasing their own mountain, and stay tuned. We've got more legends coming your way.